This is the first video I'm doing on my crypto channel in just over a month. It's one of the biggest breaks that I've ever taken since I first started crypto. And the title of this video is not clickbait. I actually did quit crypto. My time on the markets has dropped substantially over the last month. And I want to explain exactly why and what this actually means. Because although I technically did quit crypto, it's not quitting for good. It does come with a very important caveat, which I think is actually going to benefit you guys. Now, I am live today. There is no pre-recording here. So everyone that is in, I can actually interact with comments, and you guys will have the chance later in this video to ask me questions about the market. But firstly, I do want to talk a little bit about what I am doing and why I actually did quit crypto. So my last video that I made on this channel was on the 4th of March. It's now the 12th of April. This was actually filmed in London because, I temporarily escaped Dubai, obviously due to the situation, which luckily has calmed down a bit more now. But, it was a very weird time for me hopping around countries. So that was one of the reasons why I backed off the market a little bit. But in this video, I actually talked about shorting the market. So Bitcoin was 73,300, as you can see. And that video was all about how I was shorting the market. Urgent, I'm shorting this Bitcoin pump. And I basically said, if you watch my last video, that I didn't trust the market. And it was kind of poetic that I just dropped this video saying I'm shorting the market, and then everything went down. This was pretty much the peak or top at the time. We had a move from 73 to 66. Even if you kept the trade open, didn't close there. We had another move down from 75 to 65. And then obviously we've had another move down from 73 to 69. And I will discuss exactly why I think we're having the move down today, later in today's live stream. But it was kind of, I kind of just didn't feel like I needed to update you guys again. Like, I made a video basically spelling out exactly what was happening in the market, and nothing had really changed since then until now. And then a week went by, another week went by, and I just went down another rabbit hole. And in today's video, I want to talk about what that rabbit hole is, because I really shifted my focus over the last few weeks. And that focus was away from manual trading and manual execution and into automated trading and automated execution. I needed some time to really dive deep into AI. And if you've been following my AI content, you'll know that's exactly what I've been doing. But if you aren't following AI Edge or my X account and you've just been following this channel, you're probably wondering why I was a little quiet. Well, in today's video, I'm going to lift the lid on that and show you what I've been building and give you some insights as to what I've learned over the past month. The market was slow. The market was bearish. The market wasn't giving me much opportunity. So I had a choice. I could either stay, spending my time trying to scalp for little altcoin pumps, or I could spend my time building the infrastructure for something much bigger long-term that I was actually passionate about. And I do feel like I've done that. And today I'm going to share exactly what that looks like. So I think you're in for a great stream today. And of course, we're going to touch over the market and what I've been doing in my portfolio. If you have been in my Discord community, you'll know that I haven't been completely out of the market. I've still been opening trades and still doing updates there, but I did take some time away from the YouTube side of things on the crypto side to really focus on my AI systems. Now, here's the truth about AI. AI alone will not make you rich. AI is a force multiplier, meaning if you can apply AI to things that you're already good at, you will be able to get outsized returns. So a good trader with AI can do what used to take an entire team, one person. A good marketer with AI can now outproduce an entire agency solo. A good salesperson with AI can now run personalized outreach to hundreds of leads when they would only be able to do a few per day. So AI itself is not going to make you rich, but AI is going to multiply your existing skill set. So I looked at the way I was trading. I looked at my own skill set. I looked at what I was doing, what I was passionate about, which is obviously markets, which is crypto, which is also business. And I wanted to find ways that I could augment and enhance my own trading and my own business with AI. So over the last month, my focus since uploading this last video has been, how can I use AI to enhance my trading? How can I use AI to enhance my business? And I've learned a lot and I've built a lot. And I do think taking a little bit of time off trading has actually set up my future for much more profitability on the trading front, but also much more organization, which I think a lot of us in the market struggle with. So with AI specifically, I think it's a massive tool to enhance things you're already good at. And for me, like, I already have a good read on markets. I already have connections in the market. I feel like I'm, also pretty adaptive, quick to react, have a fairly good read on the market. I think my last video was testament to that. I've been bearish. I've been fading every single pump, and that has been the correct strategy for the last couple of months. So I back myself in that category of the market. I back myself to find outliers, and I do back myself with my network to find outsized opportunities in the market. Where, and I'll be completely honest, I don't always back myself as execution. I have ADHD, which is a blessing and a curse. Although at times, this is great because it means that you can get into opportunities and action them quickly. At times it has worked against me. So I have had to build AI systems to alleviate the things that I am bad at, aka manual execution, planning, scraping, and all the boring stuff that you used to have to do manually that now you can automate. So my entire trading system is now around easy execution, automated research, and market scraping, so I can focus on the things that are actually high ROI, aka going to events and networking, getting on calls with teams, and using my taste. Because one thing that AI will not replace, as I said, is it's a force multiplier. It will not replace taste. It cannot replace that intuition that you feel that this is a good trade, the intuition that you feel that this is the right decision to make. AI will only help you execute and get better results from that idea. And that's exactly what I've been focusing on over the past few weeks. So I'm actually going to run you through today my full AI automated trading system. And I have something really exciting to announce. Over the next week, from Monday to Friday, I'm going to be filming a live challenge where I put $20,000, because I actually want to show you guys that I'm doing this, not just laugh about it, like some other people on YouTube in the AI trading space. I'm actually going to put 20 grand of my own money. I've already been setting this up and testing it. And from Monday to Friday, I'm going to be trading. And on the final day, we're going to look at the results. You guys are going to see behind the hood of exactly what I do, exactly how I operate. And I'm also going to document my intuition and when I choose to tweak the AI algorithm based on my bias, because I do believe the best combination with AI trading is combining your own discretionary bias with automated setup and system. And I'm going to show you guys how I do that. In terms of the format, it's going to be a video on the channel, so it's not going to be completely live, but daily updates are going to go out on Instagram and Discord. So obviously Discord's my paid community, but if you want a free way just to keep track of what's actually happening in the challenge every day, you can follow my Instagram. We'll leave a link in the description. Richard, add that to the description. It's Miles_Deutscher, just my name. If you look up Miles Deutscher on Instagram, you will find that. And that's where we're going to be doing live updates. Then we're going to release a video on the channel showing you guys exactly what happened. In the lead up to that, over the next 3 days, I'm going to be posting a very important video on my channel. And this is going to be the setup video. So people that want to actually automate their own trading, you're going to need to know how to do it using the TradingView MCP and using the architecture that I'm going to run through in a minute here. If you're interested in that, then make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, because that is going to be the next video on the channel. And before we dive fully into this system, I just want to, just refer to the title again and close that loop. I am now back on the channel. I'm now going to be uploading a lot more. I am still interested in markets, and you're still going to get market updates from me. I just needed a bit of time to get everything together and really focus on bettering my own AI knowledge, systems, and content so I can come back and present to you things that actually work instead of trying to force content all the time and then not actually learning myself. I did find in the early days of crypto, before I was making all this content, it was actually easier to get better at the market because you're not worried about, I got to make a video on this. You're just worried about trading. I did find at a certain point where it all became about making videos and forcing content that I wasn't able to do things or spend the necessary time on leveling myself up because I got a bit too caught up in making content about it. So for me, it was a really, really important reset. So I didn't quit crypto. I am back on the channel. If anything, my crypto is going to be a lot better going forward. So I'm going to just answer a few comments here. You called the short way after the main dump? No, not at all. It was here. And this was a temporary short. If you've been watching my content on the channel, I have been very hesitant and bearish since 90K. And I actually told you guys that there was a line in the sat at 90. My charts have been the exact same for weeks or months. And if we lost that level, then I would flip bearish. This was just the latest trade, which was my last video. So, I mean, a profitable trade is a profitable trade. Are you trading oil lately? I'm not really trading it, but I'm using it, as I'll show you later, as a barometer for how the market is feeling overall, because typically when oil spikes, there's an inverse correlation with risk. Buy more altcoins. I will talk about later in the video exactly what I'm thinking around altcoins and my approach for the altcoin market, because it's been a while since I've done an update on the channel. So I'm going to give that to you guys. And take your breaks, a good idea for sure. 100%. Like, especially if you're a content creator, it's so easy just to get in that loop of just creating content all the time. But especially with something like AI, I think a lot of us are feeling, the pressure to actually become AI native. I really needed time to just absorb that. And I'm quite a quick learner, which is one of my strengths. So I just needed time to go all into that and really learn about it and then come back and present the knowledge to you. And that's exactly what we'll be doing on the channel. So what is my AI trading system? And then we're going to get into all of the market stuff. So as you can see here, I've got a massive computer with a couple of Mac minis, which are cropped out of the picture here, which I basically run OpenClaw on. You don't need to use OpenClaw. So you can do this in Claude code. But I do like OpenClaw because it does give you some benefits that Claude code doesn't. Of course, you have dispatch with Claude code. So you can basically now answer and text Claude from your phone. But what OpenClaw gives you is full autonomy 24/7 and multiple models as well. So the problem with Claude is that Claude code, is that you're fixed into the ecosystem. With OpenClaw, you can run a local model for scraping to save cost on API credits, which are very expensive. Then you can run Opus for the vibe coding elements or anything slightly more advanced. And then you can also stack multiple other models, like for example, Gemma 4, if you want to have another local model. You can save a lot of cost doing it this way, especially with market research where you're constantly scraping. You don't want to be paying for the API all the time. So OpenClaw is a little bit better for that. It gives you more flexibility. However, in the video, the tutorial that I'll do, which I'll walk you guys through this really simply. It might sound complex today. It might sound crazy. In the next video, I'll show you a really simple way to do it. You can also use Claude code. You don't need to use OpenClaw, obviously. But what you probably will need is an always-on computer. So it can either be a VPS server, a virtual network server, or it could be a local computer. Now, I recommend local hardware because then you actually own it. But obviously, VPS can be lower cost, especially if you want to spin something up in the short term. The other thing I want to explain is why AI trading. I kind of, glossed over it in the beginning, but I'll go a bit deeper now. For me personally, there are two things. One, it takes the sting out of research. So you can actually backtest, build systems, and follow common patterns in the market. For example, you can have a bot that whenever an H4 money noodle gets triggered on a certain amount of volume, it opens a trade, or it alerts you on Telegram to open a trade. Then instead of having that friction of needing to sit down at your desk, go on your computer, open up your Bybit, you can send a voice message to an OpenClaw Telegram chat, and you could say, yeah, execute 2% of my portfolio, execute a $1,000 trade, execute a $2,000 trade, set my stop loss, and it will be based on preset parameters, and it will give you advice if it's trained correctly with its memory configuration. And all of a sudden, you're in a situation where you can genuinely trade and have all of this information at your fingertips on the go. I think me, like a lot of other people, got into trading because of the allure of the fact you can do it from anywhere. You don't need to be stuck in one place all the time. And I feel like with these crazy systems a lot of discretionary traders run, you lose that flexibility. And you gain that flexibility if you can automate it. Not only that, but you just generally become more consistent. My problem is I would have 3 great days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'd follow my checklist. I'd research the market. I'd look for outliers. Then Thursday, I got a bit burnt out and I quit. And then Friday, I got distracted with something else. And then all of a sudden, that compounds. You're missing 2 to 3 days a week of research. So why not just automate all that stuff? And instead of you being the executor that has to do everything, research and execute trades, you can simply be the overseer, the manager of that entire system, and the AI executes for you. That is basically the power of AI. And it's not just for crypto. Actually, after this, I'm going to jump straight into an AI stream, which is going to go into what I'm doing, with a more of an AI focus. So you guys can just jump straight across if you want to keep watching the stream. If you don't and you're just interested in markets, that's cool. But there's a lot of power in automating workflows across the board. As I said earlier, AI is a force multiplier. All you need to do with AI is take something you already enjoy, like crypto, and find ways to make yourself smarter and better. That's it. Take something that you already enjoy, like me and business. I love social media. I love scaling social media. I'm going to talk about that on the next live stream as well. All I've had to do is find ways to make my social media creation more efficient. So I've created Claude skills to help me with content ideas. I've created, for our business development, automated pipelines so we can get data enrichment. And so we can have automated outreach to potential clients. All of that stuff is how you enhance an underlying business. So you still need the underlying passion. But if a lot of you, and I assume a lot of you here, are passionate about markets, you want to make money in trading, you want to make money in crypto, the great news is these systems are going to allow you to amplify that passion. And they don't only work for crypto, they also work for stocks. They also work for everything. They also work for portfolio management. I'm using a lot of AI right now to review my portfolios. I have an automated Claude co-work setup through Claude Code, which automatically scans my portfolio daily, looks at my overall portfolio construction, and based on my long-term goals, because I did a voice noting session, I created a memory file with all of my long-term goals, objectives, and the current standing of the business and the future projections of the business. It helps me work out on a day-to-day basis whether my portfolio allocation actually matches my goals. Because if you go to a standard financial advisor, they're going to suggest like a 60-40 stock bond split. Spoiler alert, that doesn't really work anymore. And everyone is individualized. Like for me, I like to keep more cash on hand. Why? Because I have income producing businesses. I prefer to keep more cash so I can invest more into the business and more into specific markets and go higher conviction because I back my edge over the market, as opposed to being fully invested all the time on a risk on path when my business is already relatively risk on. Then I'm just doubling down on risk. So bonds allow me to reduce my overall risk. And if you hold too much gold as well, that's been relatively correlated to risk lately. So all of this factors in a personalized strategy that an AI can help you execute. Because let's be honest, you don't have the time to calculate your portfolio every day. You just want to have a dashboard that pops up on screen and shows you exactly what your net worth is, exactly what your portfolio construction is, exactly where your risk is, exactly where your positions are, and you want suggestions based on your goals. I get those suggestions every morning on Telegram. Don't worry, all of these are going to become dedicated videos. I've just put in the time over the last month to actually just become genuinely really good at it myself so I can give it to you guys and have it impact your life like it's already starting to impact mine. And hopefully in these challenges, you're going to see that not only is it cool, but it can actually generate results. Now, I don't know. I can't tell you 100% that the Monday to Friday challenge is going to make money. It could lose money because the whole point of trading is to be profitable over the long term. But at the very least, what you'll get out of it is seeing how you can operate an AI system, a fully fledged automated AI trading system, which I think is pretty cool. I'm in so much pain. I'm out. Haven't sold anything since 2014. Trump ruining everything. Well, it depends what assets you're in. We will talk about this later, but I'm still incredibly bullish on Bitcoin. I have a fantastic interview coming out tomorrow or Tuesday with Jeff Park, who is a very, very good macro head in the space. He has a very sharp read on the market. I recommend, obviously make sure you have notifications on for that. He talks about, the bull case for Bitcoin. If you're heavy in altcoins, we'll talk about later what I think happens there. I think if you're concentrated in the right assets, you'll do quite well. But obviously, it's been a really difficult market. And that's part of the reason why I've been heavier in cash or trying to hedge short when I have the opportunity to, hence what I said in the last video, because I've just been trying to protect my portfolio. And I haven't really seen a need to take on too much risk in this environment. Have you found a way to automate any of your video editing? I have, in a way. Clipping could be automated, but the long form videos I still feel like require a lot of taste. I do think though, in a few months, AI could definitely get there, but we'll talk more about AI on the AI centric stream that'll come after. Please give away Noti Gang. We will kick that up again at some point. It probably won't be in every video now, but we'll keep picking some comments to win some money. We'll bring that back. Let's smash the like button. Definitely smash the like button for the return here. And yeah, let's get back into the video here. All right, quick recap of my automated trading system, and then we're going to go into markets. I think you guys get most of the point now, but I do want to show it to you. So basically, TradingView recently announced an MCP bridge. So beforehand, you need to build scrapers, and it would cost a lot of money to do this, to actually go through TradingView and scrape all of the data. TradingView MCP now gives you the ability to plug into Claude everything that TradingView knows. The RSIs, the momentum, the levels, all of the data on TradingView. I just dropped my pen. All of the data on TradingView, it can now be accessible through an MCP, meaning you can query a Claude chat, and I do so through Telegram, for data. For example, you can ask it anytime a major altcoin or anytime an altcoin on my list has an RSI increase of 15% in an hour period, I want an alert. Anytime that an altcoin in the top 200 makes a move of a 2.5% price move within a 30-minute period, that can be a way to identify short squeezes, by the way, send me a notification on Telegram. That stuff is only now possible, and that wasn't possible 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, you could still do a lot, but you didn't have TradingView MCP. You can also develop Pine scripts for backtesting, so you can backtest strategies across any alt or Bitcoin. You can also draw on your charts using Claude on TradingView. You can have screenshots sent to you from your computer that's always on your phone. So you can be walking down the street and ask for a Bitcoin chart update and get it sent, not just from a normal chart, like in most Discord bots, but your actual chart that has your lines and your alerts. Like, it did open up a new world. So my strategy does revolve around TradingView using the MCP to read live data. Then Claude reads the charts. Roman, who's you'll see in one of my future videos, who is my quant, my AI quant, he does a morning market scan, and he also does 15-minute scans as an oversight layer. Then, if it hits my parameters, or if I've given it the go-ahead to execute a trade under certain parameters, it executes. And this runs 24/7. This actually doesn't use AI. This uses Python to scan based on the TradingView data. So there's AI involved here. Claude will read it. This will actually save cost because Roman's running on Python to analyze the data. Then obviously, if you execute a trade, it is going to use AI. And then you execute the trades on an exchange you like. I'm running both Bluefin and Bybit right now, but you can also use Binance. Then it's going to send you alerts to Telegram. And then you're going to get a daily P&L review. And I've actually built a dashboard that you're going to see in the challenge. I've actually built a dashboard that shows me my daily P&L across all exchanges, which is cool. A lot of this you can run for nothing if you use Claude code. I mean, obviously you need a Claude subscription, and you probably need the mid or max plan. So, it's not completely free. You're going to need to pay between $100 and $200. I think the $20 plan, you can still do this, but you might burn through credits. So I'm not going to come here and lie and say it's 100% free. If you do run agents like me, it's going to cost you $5 to $10 a day. To be completely honest, I am a bit over the top. I have a lot running. I'm spending $100 to $200 a day on the API. I could reduce cost, admittedly, a lot if I relied more on local models. But Opus 4.6 and also GPT as well, they just do such a better job than a lot of these models. Like, the frontier models still have a distinct advantage. I'm still hesitant to move away from it for like the really important stuff. For example, reviewing and executing. I only trust Opus or GPT. For the trade analysis, I only trust Opus. And because I'm doing a lot of calls, a lot of API calls, I am racking up more cost than normal. But still like $50 to $100 a day for my crypto stuff, and then an extra $100 a day for my AI specific stuff, which I think is still a lot for most people. But you can get it down to pretty cheap, 0 API calls, if you use Claude code, but you still need a Claude subscription, of course. So it's still going to cost you at minimum, $20 a month for a subscription. But obviously, if you run into rate limits, I mean, you can do it daily, but then it'll just impact the amount of scanning. Like, if you want, a 15-minute market scan once every 15 minutes, you might be paying a bit more. Curious Mars, if you have a coding background. I actually don't. And this is the really interesting part. Look, to be fair, I'm very tech savvy. Like, since I was running Minecraft servers when I was 12. Fun fact, I'm 25 now, but when I was 12, I actually had one of the biggest Minecraft servers in the world. And we had hundreds or thousands of members, and I was making so much money so much money at the time. Like, it was like maybe $10,000, $20,000, which is crazy for a fucking 12-year-old. But not insane amounts. Anyway, I was making so much money at the time that my mom actually stopped it. She closed it down. She got really scared. Like, this 12-year-old's taking money off people. Like, what the fuck? And she shut it. And I was getting a bit crazy, obsessed with it. Like, once again, ADHD. I would just spend all day playing Minecraft. That she actually shut it down. So I guess I don't have a coding background, but I have a tech background. I've been a very techie guy since I was a kid, and I was always building PCs or video editing and making music. So yeah, I guess I'm just very quick on computers, but I don't have an actual coding background. the great thing about AI, I'll actually show you a sick video. The great thing about AI, this is a video from when I was building some of this stuff, is if you prompt correctly, you can actually brute force through a lot of errors. So I got, you can see here, Claude to help me build the architecture. This was after the TradingView MCP came out and I needed to make some adjustments. I got Claude to set up on OpenClaw the system with my sub agents, and you can see it's building live. And then obviously, you know, I'm doing my market scanning on the main TV here when I do an overall market scanning session, which is usually a couple times a day. So the great thing is you don't need a technical background now. You just need to be a fast learner. Well, not even, like, you know, you'll still get there even if you're a slow learner. But if you are able to just, you know, ask the right prompts and find workarounds, like there's some annoying stuff like the API breaks and you might need to brute force it. But a lot of the time you can just ask Claude, like, how do I fix this? How do I fix this? And it might even hallucinate, but eventually you'll be able to brute force through the problem. So I think the great thing about AI is now you can solve a lot of these problems. And these models are shit compared to what's actually being built. Like we all know Claude Mythos, like, which they can't even release, by the way, because it's so dangerous. It literally has found bugs in some of the biggest websites, most reputable websites of all time. So Mythos is definitely, I mean, we're 6 months away from getting that power in our pockets. So if you can't brute force your way through now, you will be able to in 6 months. But I do think the quicker you can do this stuff, the bigger the arbitrage. I want to address this comment. This guy in the comments is like, you're always disappearing. This is not the case. I have never disappeared. I just want to make this clear. Like, let's go and look through the channel. The only break I took was the last month. And it's not like I did a video saying I'm shorting and the market pumped. You genuinely would have made money if you watched that video. And in the video, I said, whenever we get a pump, I'm going to short until proven otherwise. If I had a material change in that opinion, so if I thought my thesis was invalidated, I would have obviously broken my AI stuff to create a video and update you guys. But I had genuinely nothing to update. And then before then, I mean, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, I've never taken a break longer than, I think, a week and a half. That's the longest I've ever taken. So this was the first one that I've taken. And yeah, so that comment's just rubbish. New Mars was good. Oh, new Mars. I was like, am I new Mars? Mars is good and very smart. I think I'm good and smart. I think I've made mistakes. I think I've called the market wrong at times. I've called it right at times. I've called it wrong at times. I've made mistakes. I've made mistakes publicly. Like, you know, this is just part of, I guess I've kind of grown up as a trader, like in front of the camera. And I'm pretty young, like I'm 25. I started this content thing at 22. I think it's okay to make mistakes. I think it's okay to learn and improve. And, you know, I'm just trying to get better all the time. And I'm trying to, my natural ability in the areas where I think I can get the highest upside. And, you know, that's been obviously the crypto markets for a long time. It still is the markets, and I'm still very passionate about liquid markets, but now being able to augment that with AI is giving me an even bigger edge in the market. And, you know, because I'm pretty quick with technology and stuff, this is like the perfect place for me where like high agency and speed is rewarded. Like the AI space literally rewards you on speed. How quickly can you build things before others? How quickly can you adopt things before others? Because there are traders right now that I know, and maybe you're one of them, and that's fine. We'll fix it together. But you know, there are lots of traders right now. They're still drawing lines on their charts and they're executing manually. Now, okay, I think it's okay to be the guy that clicks the buttons. There's also trust issues with AI. 100% accept that. But if you're not at least augmenting pattern recognition, if you're not at least augmenting backtesting, if you're not at least augmenting journaling, then you're leaving money on the table. Like you can scan, you know, in the past, I've given you all these strategies to find alpha on altcoins, like listening to AMAs, and the founders often leak alpha on AMAs, especially for small caps. You've even had some crazy runners we'll talk about later in the past couple of weeks. You can now use AI anytime there's a project on your watch list to listen through the entire X spaces, summarize, find potential vectors where there is potentially alpha, and then present it to you in a list. So in the past, you'd have to listen to 5 hours of AMAs to get one little bit of alpha. Now you can do it literally with an automated scan or an OpenClaw. That is the kind of stuff I'm talking about here. And imagine how many other processes there were that you used to have to do manually. Like every day you'd have to scroll through X and look at your feed and look through your alpha list. Now you can literally, if you train the Claude parameters right, have a presented, curated X feed to you every day in Telegram based on the things that only you need to know about either the projects in question or the topics in question. It's such a time saver. And not only that, it enables you to actually cover more surface area. Because in the past, you have 30 minutes a day, maybe maximum. Maybe I had like an hour a day maximum to scroll through X. Now you can cover the surface area of 24 hours worth of content. Because before you're not picking up all the content. So they're just some examples. And I can go on and on about it, not just in crypto, but in the sales process as well, and all sorts of things. All right. So this is the setup that we'll talk about more next week. I'm very excited to go into it. And yeah, you guys will see that very soon. I'll do a video on it. And I'm also doing a live challenge. Now, let's go into markets, because I did want to give you a market update today. And then I'm going to jump onto a dedicated AI stream where I talk more about like AI workflows and more personal productivity stuff and less about market stuff. And the link, by the way, for that will be in the description. So we'll do like a little crossover where at the end of the stream, if anyone's interested, you can just jump straight onto that stream and we'll just pick it up there. I don't think... Oh no, I actually forgot to tweet the link for this video. That's quite funny. All right, you know what? I'm just going to tweet it now. I meant to tweet it, but it's all right. People can just go and watch it later, and I'll just tweet it now. Plus, we're live on X anyway. All right, so news broke today that President Trump said the U.S. Navy will begin blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. Any Iranian who fires at us or peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. This comes after reports that the negotiation talks didn't go that well over the weekend. You can see here that oil prices are now expected to surge above 115 a barrel. That is a material degradation from what the market was pricing in a few days ago. You can also see on the prediction markets right now, the chance of a ceasefire resolution has by... this says April 7, but it's not. This is, I think, April, the end of April, has dropped from 70% to 40%. So you can see the market is now materially... This is a screenshot. That's why I can't go up and tell you the actual date, but I believe it's end of month or May. Yeah. It's had a material decrease, which means basically in the last 24 hours, the market is less confident that there will actually be like an implemented ceasefire, which is obviously bad for markets. This oil spiking is also bad for markets. I haven't checked it in the last few minutes. Obviously, it's the markets aren't open yet, but futures are also ticking up. And obviously, pre-markets for equities have weakened, but they still are okay, which is, I guess, the most interesting thing here. Like, look, they are down. Dow futures 0.5%, S&P futures flat, NASDAQ futures slightly up. This is quite an interesting phenomena because it just shows you how much sidelined capital there was. Like, when you have a reaction like this on NASDAQ after, such a crazy volatile few weeks, that just shows you that there is so much pent up demand in the market. So you might say, oh, fuck, this is a really bullish sign, right? It means I should get in. Well, at the same time, I think we should still be cautious because even though you're seeing relief here, and it does highlight, the underlying structural bullishness of the market due to many things like AI productivity, sideline capital, and, all sorts of things, you still have to be cautious because there is still the tail risk that things evolve, and that could, either be a re-engagement, as we're seeing some signs of, but no concrete evidence of the war, military action in Iran, and then you're also seeing the possibilities, potentially longer term, of inflationary effects on the market, definitely affecting the rate. Which, who knows what Fed Watch will do, but the data is now suggesting that we are not going to see rate cuts this year, and that's likely. And we know that risk-based markets do better, Bitcoin, equities, etc., with a lower rate. However, it's kind of like there's another counterpoint. This is all very nuanced, of course, that the increased inflation will drive more people to own assets and more hedging against holding dollars. And that is one of the pressures supporting the market. So if I had to summarize my feeling on the market, bullish or bearish, I would say I am completely cautious because I I think there is a chance that markets grind higher because we have seen the propensity of these dips to be swallowed up. At the same time, I think there's a chance that the market is getting too excited too quick, and we actually may see prices come back down again. And if you objectively look at Bitcoin right now, it doesn't look strong, at least until we break the 2024 level, which definitely could happen. That's at 73,000. Like what I'm seeing here, and I said this in Discord the other day, is that we are simply rejecting off a range high again, the same range high that we shorted in the last video, by the way. So until we actually break above, and until there is some sort of consolidation above, then I'm not going to make a call that we're going to go trade back in the 80s. We're technically still range bound. If anything, you're looking for a scalp short. I know Surf took one in the Discord the other day. So objectively, I can't just become bullish into resistance. When you look at the stock markets, it's a little bit of a different picture. I do feel like it's a similar thing though. You're seeing relief back into a resistance zone on both the S&P and the NASDAQ here. You see we tagged a resistance zone. We're probably going to come down over the next couple of days as well, even though futures are relatively stable. I think that this latest evolution and maybe oil increasing in price again won't bode well for sentiment. So I think we might actually see just a little bit of sideways consolidation or a retrace. I don't think it'll be a big retrace. I think the market is still wary to see what plays out here. Now, obviously, if there is a full ceasefire / full de-escalation, you likely do see prices go higher. You likely do see equities go to new highs. But I'd be happy to pay a premium for that rather than deploying all my capital right now. I think a better question though is like if you were completely sidelined, right? If you had all your money in cash, should you be deploying now or not? I think it's too risky to have nothing in the markets. And I'm just saying owning assets in general. So whether that be equities, Bitcoin, altcoins are a separate discussion, which we're going to have in a few minutes. I don't think I'd be comfortable being fully out of the market. I also wouldn't be comfortable being all in the market. I think that comes with incredible risk right now as well. So I think a balanced approach, and that's why I'm like 45% cash, which is still aggressive by the standards of many financial advisors. But as I discussed earlier, that is a strategic decision that I'm making. Due to this, I'm trying to stay a little bit more risk off. By the way, if you just came from the X link I posted and you want to know why the title is Why I Quit Crypto, go to the beginning of this video and I explain it all. TLDR, I'm focusing a lot on AI systems and I've been building automated trading bots, and I've just been basically changing my entire life with AI and going crazy down the rabbit hole, spending 12 hours a day on AI. Literally, I'm not even lying. I spend literally 12 hours a day on AI, like every waking hour. I've got AI at least open. So I wanted to step back from the markets a little bit where it was choppy. I didn't have a read. I didn't feel like I had an edge, and I wanted to focus on AI systems. Now on the channel, make sure you're subscribed, by the way. We're going to be documenting how to actually apply that to crypto. And that's going to be a really exciting next few weeks on the channel. But you will see more market updates from me. I'm not averse to doing updates on altcoins, updates on macro. We probably will still do that. But I just didn't feel the need to force it over the past few weeks. So that's basically the TLDR on that. But we'll continue with our market analysis here. I'll just open up the comments as well in case anyone has any questions here. Are you going to go through the details of how you set up the AI? Absolutely. Not in this video though, because it needs to be a dedicated tutorial. And I'm going to give you guys the entire system. This is the architecture. You could even screenshot this right now. I'll zoom in for you and put this through your Claude and ask how you could do it. But just to make sure you don't fall into some of the traps that I did because it was a bit finicky, I'm going to do a full video on that. And that will be out by Wednesday. So if you follow the channel, Wednesday or Thursday, we're going to have an interview on Monday or Tuesday coming for you guys, which is a portfolio balancing interview. Another comment here. Please tell me why this is all happening. Yeah, I guess I won't discuss the political angle of Trump and stuff. How foreign policy's done anything resembling positivity for markets. Well, I think Trump is like kind of caught between a rock and a hard place right now, where his number one priority is not just foreign policy. And his number one priority is also not just markets. He's trying to keep markets afloat. He's trying to play the game whilst achieving their foreign objectives, which, by the way, you couldn't necessarily rule out that the Dems wouldn't have done the same. I mean, not maybe they wouldn't have done the exact same, but something, or done something about Iran. So you don't know. So, I think blaming it all on Trump, he also has advisors, maybe isn't the way to go. But yeah, I'm not going to give a full political opinion because I just don't think I'm A, super passionate about it, or B, super informed. I mean, I'm informed about what's happening. I'm just not informed as to like what is good, what is bad, and why these things happen. Because frankly, I think what you read in the headlines isn't what's happening behind the scenes. It's clearly smoke and mirrors. But obviously this stuff isn't positive for markets, but Trump has shown that he will still protect markets. Like, I feel like one of the reasons why he hasn't gone a step further with military action is because he doesn't want to cause soaring inflation, which is obviously going to be very bad for markets. So we do see time and time again the Targo trade playing out. I think this will be no different. The only question is whether we see another leg down before things break out. But I don't necessarily think that's a reason to, go all in right now. As I said, if I was fully sidelined right now, I'd be looking mostly, if I was fully sidelined, I'd be looking at deploying a little bit right now to have some exposure, especially Bitcoin. Like, I'm still very bullish long term. I think anything in the 60s to 70s is ultimately going to be good long term. But you also want some cash on the side to protect potentially being able to catch lower, whether that's mid 50s, high 50s. I've seen other traders calling for 30s, 40s. I don't necessarily think that'll be the case. I actually think the fact we held up and actually made higher lows throughout this entire saga is a sign of relative strength, and is a sign that, at least for now, like, that overhang supply, which caused us to dip so aggressively, is now at least mostly gone. Craig says we see the fit. Yeah, a la Madrid, bro. I think I hope we beat Bayern. I'm a big Madrid fan. We're not playing good football at all, but I hope we somehow pull it off, and like we have so many times before. So yeah, that'll be an exciting match. What is it, on Wednesday? Yeah. It's going to be hard, but I back the guys. But either way, we need to make some changes. If you're into football, I won't go too much on it in this stream, but if you're into football, you definitely have to, Real definitely has to bolster their defense. I think we need a new midfielder. I think Enzo will make a big difference. I think we definitely need a center back, Schlotterbeck, one of these stronger center backs needs to come in. But I don't think Real's problems are all signing problems. I think there's a bit of a culture problem. We saw that with what's happened with sacking Xabi. And now Arbeloa's like a softer personality. I think there's issues with the club behind the scenes, but there's definitely some issues that we can fix on the pitch through some signings. That's for sure. Looks like the title was clickbait. Not really. It's why I quit crypto. Quit is past tense verb. And I did quit for a month, and I worked on some systems, and I've come back stronger. So yeah, clickbait, maybe not necessarily, but stretching the truth for a click. I think that's the whole game of YouTube, right? That's the whole thing. But that was basically the point of the opener there. All right, let's talk about because I do want to go into this AI stream after. I don't want to take all of you guys' day. So we've talked about Bitcoin, my opinion on the market overall. What's my focus in the market right now? Well, I actually do agree with this Smiley Capital tweet. He says, a few times a year, there are tweets you should adhere to. This is one of them. Now is the single best time to be releasing/looking for new projects and protocols. Think of this period as Q3 to Q4 2022. Look for innovative tech, low caps, and winners of future narratives. I 100% agree with this. When the market has lost so much interest, retail's not interested anymore. And at the same time, you literally have this massive convergence between the world's coming up next, Mars Deutscher football. Yeah, that can be the next channel. You're literally seeing massive convergence between the worlds of AI and crypto. As Mark Andreessen said, the biggest VC in the world, the founder of A16Z, crypto AI is going to be massive. This is the grand unification of AI and crypto. AI agents are going to need money. And blockchain is the only rails where an agent doesn't need to KYC. It doesn't need a bank account. It doesn't need a legal entity. Agents can interact with wallets. And I think you are going to see the rise of automated DeFi, automated trading, and I think it's the single biggest thing that can revive the crypto market. The next alt season will almost undoubtedly be an AI season. It will be an AI infrastructure season, an AI protocol season. The only other area of crypto where I think it's genuinely worth looking into low caps and slightly more speculative projects is tokenization, because that clearly isn't a trend that's gone away, and we've seen a lot of projects explode over the past few weeks. A lot of projects with unique mechanisms have exploded, and that's also because of the short squeeze effect that's happening in the market. I'll speak about that, but that is something to pay attention to as well. So AI, RWA, these are the two sectors, specifically AI, that you should be researching. So if you are going to just research one altcoin sector, I think it's AI. I'm keeping tabs on it. I'll update you guys when I find stuff. I'm not trying to rush positioning, as Smiley said, Q3 to Q4. So he's prepping people for later in the year. I don't think you need to rush in now, but the market will definitely reward those who are still paying attention. I'm not just saying this like flippantly. Like, I genuinely believe that there are going to be massive, massive winners, especially in this AI space. And some of them might not have launched yet. Some of them might be new that come onto the market. We just need to make sure they have solid tokenomics. Crypto is all about attention. I mean, the world in general is an attention economy, right? But crypto specifically is all about attention. And AI has the most attention of any narrative right now. So it only makes sense that that will be the next altcoin season. Plus, you obviously have the functional effect that Marco Dreessen speaks about. And if you don't believe me, listen to the founder of A16Z, biggest VC in the world. Listen to him if you don't believe me. Watch this clip. It's on my X. He says this is the unification of AI and crypto. Agents are going to need money. And that's going to open up a massive opportunity. I think it's the biggest use case for crypto ever. So that's one thing. Second thing, there's a very interesting trading setup right now, which I've actually ran into my OpenClaw AI setup. So I'm automatically scanning the market for these momentum shifts. But there are a lot of short squeezes happening. RaveDAO, a project that I spoke about, actually on YouTube a couple of months ago, and also in my Discord, and potentially on X as well, they just freaking exploded. It's mental. It's absolutely mental. They exploded from 59 to 800. If there is a drawdown on this one over the next few weeks, that gives you the ability to temporarily enter a position. I think it could actually squeeze higher. But just keep your eye on this. This is an example of, even in a weak market or a non-interested retail market, you still have massive exploders. Massive exploders. The way to play these exploders isn't necessarily picking them when they're low and hoping they pump, because we all know that strategy is very hit or miss. I actually prefer to get in a bit higher, look at momentum, and get in on consolidations after prices start to move. And the RaveDAO move, for example, you had a day of consolidation, another day, a dip, consolidation, another day. So this played out over like 3 days. So you had opportunities. Obviously, I'm not expecting it 70 mil, but to get in at 200, 400, and now it's 800. The first step to identifying trades like this is looking for momentum flips. So ENA is a good example. This is one that has a fundamental catalyst coming. They have lots of product launches coming out, and it has a technical setup where the H4 noodle, which is a momentum indicator, available in the Mars High Club. You can also use a moving average of your choice. We can see that it is making lower highs, but it is compressing against the noodle. Once you have momentum flips and a series of higher lows set in, that is a reversal indicator that I look at to potentially look to validate a trade. Then you can enter and you can set your stop below the prior low. This is the type of setup, like a bread and butter setup, that you can get an agent to execute for you. I don't want to be on my computer exactly when this happens. I might be asleep. I might not have the patience or the time to sit down that day. So I'm going to have my Telegram alert me, and I'll have certain parameters for taking that trade on automated conditions if I am asleep. And if I'm awake, I can manually execute it once I see that message. Or I can just send a message and tell my AI to execute it. It's that simple. But this is the combination that I like right now. What altcoins have upcoming catalysts, and what altcoins are also exhibiting price action momentum shifts. So ENA is one. ZEC was another, actually. Zcash. This also was chopping for quite some time. This wasn't an H4 trade. This was a daily trade. You had lower highs, then you had a big breakout. There are a few other ones as well. I think the other easy thing to do is just long strength on coins that are looking strong and have market dominance. Hype's one of them. Any big drawdown on Hype, I think, is worth bidding, because we are now in an uptrend. Downtrend to uptrend. This is a confirmed shift. There are other alts like Pump that I feel like fit into the same category as ENA, that I like them in terms of mindshare fundamentally, but it's just been beaten down. So we'll go into the time frame where the noodle actually works, because you don't want to take a trade on choppy time frames. You want to configure each altcoin to a time frame where it actually adheres to market structure. For Pump, it looks like the 1 day or 2 day is probably going to, the 2 day. So you can see basically a downtrend. I will look on the 1 day and the 2 day for a potential flip here, potential compression between the noodle and the highs, because we are in a range bound structure right now, as a potential entry bullish ascending channel scenario for a squeeze to the upside. That is the scenario that I would want to see for a breakout. Conversely, if we came down and swept the lows again, I think there's a range low, swing trade into range high. So that would be my trading setup on pump. Once again, I'll be automating a lot of this stuff, so I don't need to manually execute, or at least send me live alerts or updates when we are in a particular zone that I like. But once again, looking at a coin that I think has strong fundamentals, but also trying to align that with the technicals. An interesting one right now is Tau. We had a bit of a fake out and a big dip. There was a bunch of FUD on Tau. If you just want to get rid of the momentum indicators, I think there's an interesting setup here. If we do get rid of the noodle as well, I want to look at the range structure. If we actually get another sweep of the lows, I think this would be a great time to load up with more size spot Tau. Around $150 to $180 in this zone, I'd be very interested in adding some more Tau. So keep that in mind. I think that could be interesting. If not, I just want to see some strength again. So I want to see us come back above this zone here, potentially look at a long into the resistance level of 400. But interested in Tau just because it has a lot of mind share. It's one of the only AI coins that doesn't have a whole lot of supply dilution and has general public interest outside of the crypto sphere. So let me answer a couple of questions, and I'm also going to get the AI stream up and running in a second. Would you apply AI in wallet tracking? Oh, this is one of the best use cases. I actually haven't set up my full infrastructure, but it's on my to-do list. I just want my own trading system and portfolio stuff fully dialed in, and then that's one of the next things that I'll add, but 100%. I already have researchers that are doing that, by the way. Talking about momentum flips, you can now deploy custom agents. I don't know. You're shilling something. I think that's an AI agent commenting there. Don't click that link just to be safe. Cool. So let me know if you have any final questions in the chat. In the meantime, I am going to spin up this other stream because I'm about to go live on the AI channel. Now, if you are watching the stream right now and you want to continue watching me, because we're going to talk about, it's going to be very exciting. It's how to make money with AI. So not just crypto. We're going to discuss the other business ideas that I have. Some I don't have time for, but I wish someone would do, because if I wasn't in my position, I genuinely would do it. Like, I think there are certain business ideas that at certain levels make more sense. At my level, adding another 20 to 30K a month doesn't move the needle. But for some of you, it would fucking move the needle. For most people, it would fucking move the needle. And I genuinely think there's one opportunity in particular right now with AI. I'm going to run you through the full blueprint for it on the AI channel. It can be fucking amazing. Even if you don't get to those heights, I think 3, 4, 5K a month can be very, very, very achievable. I think just with what I was able to do over the last month, spending less time on markets and learning this skill, if I went into that market right now, even without any of my personal brand stuff, I'd be able to generate 5K a month. I'm very excited to talk about that. Webb Eastwood says you got a message on WAP. You should. My team answers everything. Open a support ticket in the Discord, and my team will help you there. We answer every ticket. If it's only been a few hours, then we should definitely get to you. All right. Yes, please. You excited for that? All right. Let's get started on the other channel.